I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who's a very well-respected DJ. He does some pretty amazing things. He's really good at what he does, but he got into this well after records were a thing, so he's not very familiar with turntables, yet he's interested, and he has questions. And one question he asked I thought was really good. He's like, look, I understand what the strobe is, I understand that light on a turntable, but what is this pop-up light all about? What's the point of it? I'm glad he asked the question, and I'm glad that I had the answer for him. But I thought what I do here in a video is just show you what all the lights on this Technics 1200 Mark II mean. Because they all mean something. They all do something. Have a look. If we turn it on, and we go ahead and start our turntable, let's drop the needle on the record. By the way, one of the greatest songs of all time, greatest records of all time, Sparky B and the Beat Patrol, I'm the Man. If he flags us for this, I'm going to be very angry. We'll have a look at our first light over here. This is the pitch lock light. If your pitch control is working accurately, when this light is on, it indicates that your pitch is locked in either 33 1/3 or 45, depending on what RPM you're playing your record on. So if you speed it up, or go anywhere other than 33 1/3 on the pitch, or down, the light goes off. If you're right here in the middle, your light's on. Indicates that a properly operating pitch control is locked in place and you're locked in RPM. Speaking of that, if you want to make sure that your pitch is accurate, a good way to do that is look at your strobe. Have a look at this. It's shining a light on the platter itself, and you got all those dots on the side of the platter. Well, those dots are showing it very steady right in the middle. And that's showing us that the pitch is indeed locked because they're not moving. If they were moving a little bit, like see if I speed the record up, see how they move, or if I slow it down, they move weird. Something's going on with this pitch if those dots are not steady when your pitch is locked. I've had old record players where there wasn't an accurate pitch control on it, and you'd have to kind of look at that to see where you were. But this is a very accurate pitch. Most Technics 1200s have very accurate pitch controls, unless they're worn out or something. So that's not really an issue. I don't pay much attention to the strobe, but that's what it is, and that's what it's for. A couple other lights to look at here would be the 33 1/3 and the 45 light. We're in 33 1/3, so this light is illuminated. If we switch over to 45, the 45 light is illuminated. Now, it's also worth mentioning, whenever you turn your turntable on, you're automatically going to be on 33 on the 1200 Mark II. That's just how it works. The last light we're going to look at is kind of the mystery light, and the light that he was asking about, which is this pop-up light. What's that for? The strobe, we understand what this is, but what is this? Imagine you're in a dark nightclub, which is what a lot of us were experiencing back in the old days. Sometimes there was a single red light bulb illuminating what we were doing, or a blue one or something. And you wanted to jump onto the Sparky B I'm the Man remix. Well, if you pop this light up, you can now see the grooves in the record. So now I can see what I'm doing. I can lift this up and I can more accurately drop it at the point of the remix. So it's to see your grooves. That's all it is. Not so much of an issue today with the lighting we have, but back in the old days and dark environments, this light was very helpful. I was going to end the video right there. In fact, I was in the editing process when it occurred to me that my friend had asked another really good question that I thought I'd try to address in this video, from my perspective anyway. And that is, what is the fascination with the Technics 1200 Mark II? It's been around forever. It's old tech. And there have been so many record players that have been made over the years that have improvements, like a better pitch range. I mean, these only go to 8%. Sometimes these new ones go to 16, 32, and plus. LED lights, cool colors, fresher designs. Pioneer makes one now that you don't even need a needle for, or a record. You just manipulate the music with the platter and on the computer and all that. How come these are still so hot? How come the used market's crazy on these things? Well, look, the only way that I can even attempt to explain this from my perspective is there was never anything that this turntable couldn't do that I needed a turntable to do. And the longevity, build quality on these things are insane. They feel good. What analogy could I use? I could go the car analogy. Let's do that first. I know some of you hate it, but let's do it first. This is a brand new Mustang, and it's not a cheap date. It's got so many cool improvements on it from any of the older Mustangs. Independent rear suspension, there's computer stuff, there's comfort, there's aerodynamics, there's horsepower, it's quicker, and it's sleeker, and all that neat stuff. Yet, people still want the original car. I got one, and I can tell you right now that it costs a lot more today than it did back in the old days. Part of the beauty of this car is its simplicity. It's not complicated. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. And if you parked a new one next to an old one, I guarantee you the old one is going to get more attention from people, and people are going to get more excited about seeing it going down the road than they are a new one. Now, there are some things on this old car that I had to change, like a sway bar, radial tires, export brace, disc brakes, things like that. Kind of like on the turntable. A couple things I had to change on this, and most DJs do. I'm not running the original cartridge. I'm running a Shure white label cart and needle. Those aren't being made anymore, but I have them and I like them. I could upgrade to something else. Not a big deal. Most people do change out the cart. Also, I've done slip mats on this one. Most DJs do that. They take the rubber mat off of the turntable and they get themselves a cool DJ slip mat so you can easily manipulate your record. I even put these on here. This is part of the sleeve for a record. Sometimes they're kind of waxy instead of paper. Take one of them, cut it out, and you put it between your platter and your slip mat, and it's kind of hot rodding things to the point where it's really easy to manipulate this. It takes no effort. You can also do crazy modifications on these. Some people do them. Some people switch out to LED lights on them. They put different leads in the back, better leads than were original. Sometimes they eliminate the ground on them. Sometimes they keep them classic, kind of like I do. Couple small changes, but nothing too radical. That's my style. So yeah, it's just a very tried and true piece. It's cool. Just like these Mustangs. I mean, this car won the Tiffany Award. The new one didn't. It's beautiful. It doesn't have a bad angle. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, you can change a few things to modernize it, which I've done for my purposes on this turntable without going crazy. But classic is classic. The car does everything I want it to do. Yeah, a new one would be cool, but and the other piece of DJ equipment or musical equipment that I could kind of compare it to would be the Shure SM58 microphone. This mic's been out for a long time. I don't even know how long. I'll put it in here in text or something. It's how long it's been out. Forever, okay? I have had so many different microphones. I started my career with one of these. I say career. When I was first starting to DJ, I used this. And then I tried Sennheiser, Sony, Electro Voice, JTS, you name it. I've got so many different microphones, it's absolutely insane. Mics I've used on the road for my wired handheld microphone. I've tried all kinds of stuff. And guess what I did? I went back to the Shure SM58 because it does everything I want it to do. It never fails me. If you watch singers and stand-up comedians, a lot of them still use this for vocals. And they still work, man. They're good mics. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's kind of what's going on with this. I mean, they made the original Technics 1200 back in, I think, 72. And then they came up with the Mark II in 78. The Mark II had a couple changes to it with the pitch control and such. But, wow, what a nice piece. Adjustable brakes. And you're never going to have a problem with a lot of pieces on here. A lot of the accessories, like the pitch control or whatever. Unless you abuse it or it gets stored in an environment that is damp or something and causes some electrical damage, rather. But anyway, yeah, it's a classic, man. There's nothing that I need above and beyond this. I don't need a bigger pitch range. I don't need LED lights. I don't need a different color. I don't need extra buttons and toys and crap. I need this. And, all of the cool DJ interfaces for computer, like the old Serato stuff and all that, it's designed to work with this. Why? Because there's nothing wrong with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I think's going on with this thing, from my perspective. Maybe you've got a different idea on it, but that's how I feel about it. And that's why I'm not, looking at the new Pioneer turntable or the new Reloop turntable or even the new Technics turntable. This one's just fine. And yeah, you can only get them used, and people love them, so that's why the value goes up on them. And it's a classic, man. The last turntable I'll ever need is this one right here. How about you? Let us know down below. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. I really appreciate it so much, and I appreciate you for doing it. Practice and enjoy.